Welcome to NIOS live classes. Subject: Indian Sign Language Secondary. Number 230. Module number 1. Understanding Indian Sign Language. Lesson number 2. And the topic you can see on the screen. The history of ISL. Its origin, development, and relationship with other sign and spoken languages. This lesson explains how ISL, Indian Sign Language, was developed and spread over time, with a focus on the role of residential schools in its development and its use in the education of deaf children. In this lesson, you will also explore the influence of other sign languages on ISL. And the contribution made by individuals, institutions, and research toward its development. Outcomes. After study this lesson, learners will able to learn some various topics. They can describe the history of ISL. They can explain the role of other sign and spoken languages in the development of ISL. And also they can list some institutions in India which have worked on ISL and describe their contributions. Now we will study the history and development of Indian Sign Language. In this topic, following points to be discussed. First Deaf School. Second, role of deaf residential in development of ISL. Third, Indian Sign Language and deaf education. Fourth, influence on ISL. Fifth, sign language linguistics and research. And last, ISL cell, BAASLS and ISLRTC and NIOS. First, we will look at the first deaf school. The first deaf school did not use sign language but had an oral education system. This was influenced by the 1880 Milan Conference in Italy, where educators of the deaf decide to use speech for teaching the deaf across the world. Then the oralism influenced the whole world to teach deaf students. First deaf school was opened in Bombay, which is in 1885. Second deaf school opened in Kolkata, which is in 1893. The first deaf school founded in Delhi was in 1931. Now we will look at the role of deaf residential schools in the development of ISL. Most deaf schools had their own hostels. The deaf learners used to come from various places and stay in these hostels. Naturally, these hostels led to sign language use among deaf students. They started expressing themselves using novel and story tell signs, etc. These signs were not taught by any teachers. Most teachers did not even understand these signs. Many teachers felt it is better to have same sign language across the country because they were confused by the local variations in sign language. Many hearing people did not fully understand. Most probably, they can understand the gestures using by the deaf. Hence, deaf people used basic gestures while communicating with hearing people. So through this, it was felt that sign language is only a collection of gestures and not a specific language. Now we will look at the ISL and deaf education. MBS Mook Badhir Sangathan was founded up in Indore in 1974. Indian Deaf Bilingual Academy IDBA also functions under MBS. And it is a bilingual school where sign language is included for learning. While this school offers education in sign language, most other deaf schools have only been following an oral system for education. There are about 800 deaf schools in the country. But the teachers are mostly hearing and do not know sign language, as it was not the part of their training. They often depend on deaf learners and learn a few basic signs for them. Most teachers in deaf schools claim to follow total communication, which means they speak and use manual communication, include mostly gestures at the same time. However, it is because teachers do not understand sign language, and even here they rely on deaf learners to assist them with sign languages. As you can see on the screen, that's the example of total communication, which is include various type of gestures, facial expressions, photo, speaking, etc. Following the year 2000, there was a rapid increase in the number of ISL training facilities related to ISL, which is interpreting course, and some ISL training for teachers trainers. However, teachers are still struggling to effectively communicate in the classroom. And it is because of lack of quality of ISL input during their teacher training courses. It is hoped that teachers will learn more sign language during their training courses, whether it is D.Ed or B.Ed, so that they are better able to deliver education to deaf learners. Let's take a short break.
प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने। हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
संसाधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोट से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, नए विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने। हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने। हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने।
Welcome back to NIOS classes. We have learned now the influences on ISL. ISL has been developed by the Indian deaf community. It has not been borrowed from any other country. There are a few similarities with signs from other countries, but that is natural influence. For example, the two-handed finger spelling is similar to that of British Sign Language. There are only minor differences such as A, E, I, O, U, etc. This happened as India was under British Empire for long, and hence there were influences in sign alphabets. However, except the finger spelling, the signs, word and expressions in ISL are quite different in BSL. For example, the sign of difficult. In ISL, the sign of difficult is like this, but in BSL, they have sign of difficult like this. Same as for easy also. And for what also. ISL is different from the other spoken languages in India. It has independent vocabulary and grammar. Now, with more and more deaf people traveling to other countries for international conferences and more sign language video content available from other countries on social media like YouTube, Facebook, etc. There are influences by international signs and American Sign Language. on ISL use by deaf community. For example, the sign of show. In ISL we use the sign of show, and in ASL the sign of show is same. Second, the sign of T. And next, the sign of family. Sign language linguistics and research. Linguistics is a study of language, include the use of words, sentences and grammar. In the 1960s, Stokoe published research stating that American Sign Language (ASL) is a complete language with its own grammar and vocabulary. In 1978, the researchers Vashishta, Woodward and Wilson conducted a study on ISL. It has seen that ISL is an independent language and evolved naturally in Indian deaf community. Later, they also published the first 4 ISL dictionary, which is Delhi, Bombay, Kolkata and Bangalore variety. In 1981, the ISL Delhi Variety Dictionary, published by All India Federation of the Deaf (AIFD), became India's first published ISL dictionary. A person, Ulrich Zichan, in 1996 conducted research on the linguistic aspects of sign language varieties of India and Pakistan. In 2000, Zichan studied the linguistic aspects of sign language variations of India. A person, Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya in Coimbatore, released an ISL dictionary in 2001. Now we will look at the ISL cell. In May 2001, the ISL cell was started at the Ali Yavar Jung National Institute of Hearing Handicap in Bombay, and now known as Ali Yavar Jung National Institute of Speech and Hearing Disability. The cell provided 3 levels of formal ISL training for deaf teachers and hearing interpreters. And they also developed videos and other learning material for these courses. A person, Sibaji Panda, was the first deaf teacher to teach these courses. Linguistics, Ulrich Zishan and Madan Vashisht were the consultants of them. These courses were approved by the Rehabilitation Council of India (RCI), which is responsible for training professionals in disability related courses. Let's take a short break.
प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने,
अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
धन साधन समय की सीमा से
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने हम, अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर।
शिक्षा और परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर। दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत,
कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, अपना दीपक स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम,
Welcome back to NIOS classes. Now we will look at the BAASLS, which is Bachelor of Arts in Applied Sign Language Studies. This was a degree program offered by Indira Gandhi National Open University in collaboration with the University of Central UK University, which is UCLAN, from 2009 to 2015. This course focused on sign language linguistics, bilingual education strategies, and how to create high quality ISL learning content and materials. Indian Sign Language Research and Training Center. The ISL was founded at IGNOU in 2011 with the goal of conducting research in ISL, training interpreters and preparing teachers to use a bilingual approach with Devp. The ISL separated from IGNOU and become an autonomous body in 2015. Next is National Institute of Open Schooling. NIOS, which was formerly known as National Open School (NOS), came into existence in November 1989 with a vision to provide inclusive and barrier-free education through open and distance learning. NIOS offered different courses, which is Open Basic Education, Secondary Level and Senior Secondary Level. NIOS started developing educational resources in Indian Sign Language from 2016 to facilitate communication and education of deaf and hard of hearing learners. NIOS introduced ISL as a language subject at the secondary level in line with the recommendation of the new education policy, which is NEP 2020. ISL introduced as a language subject at secondary level. They provide ISL educational videos available on NIOS YouTube channel, website and Diksha portal. They cover subjects at both secondary and senior secondary levels. NIOS technology use in 2018. Launched by Swayam Prabha DTH channel 30. India's first 24/7 educational TV channel in sign language, which is from October 2018 to August 2020. Since September 2020, ISL content broadcast twice a week on PME Vidya channel 10 with live interactions. NIOS has been recognized internationally for its efforts and was awarded the King Sejong Literacy Prize 2021 by UNESCO for its program on enabling education of persons with disabilities through technology enabled inclusive learning materials, and with a specific focus on ISL based content. Now we had learned so much, so we will conclude what we have learned. First, the first school for the deaf in India, which is in Bombay Institution for Deaf and Mutes, was founded in 1885. Milan Conference in 1880 had a huge influence in the propagation of oral education and use of speech to teach the deaf. Though India now has around 800 schools for deaf, but ISL is still not being used as a medium of instruction in most schools. However, Mook Badhir Sangathan in Indore, established in 1974, was an exception and was set up by a deaf couple, and sign language was used there freely and fluently. Sign language linguistic research of ASL in 1960s by William Stoke showed that ASL was complete and true language like English. In 1981, the first dictionary of ISL was published by the All India Federation of the Deaf. Ulrich Zishan in 1996 conducted research on the linguistic aspects of sign language varieties of India and Pakistan. We have learned the chapter, now we will do some exercise. When was the first deaf school started in India? And the answer is the first school deaf started in India in 1885. When did linguistic research show that ASL is the independent natural language of the deaf community? And the answer is 1960. The ISRTC as an autonomous body was established in which year? And the answer is 2015. Now let's do some true and false. There are variation in sign language in India or in other countries? And the answer is true. Second, India ISL is very similar to BSL? And the answer is false. Now let's look up at the fill-ups. The first dictionary of ISL was published in dash by dash. And the answer is, it was published in 1981 by AIFD. The ISL cell was started in dash at the Ali Yavar Jung National Institute of Hearing Handicap in Mumbai. And the answer is 2001. Thank you.